A very good evening to one and all once again. I welcome you all on the third day of this 1 week virtual faculty development program come workshop on research methodology and AI integration. Yesterday, we have witnessed a very good session by Dr. Janki Misri on the topic literature review and referencing techniques. And today, again, we have a very renowned speaker, a renowned personality, a renowned academician, a scholarly researcher, a mentor, great personality, Professor Manvinder Singh Pava with us from Dr. Hari Singh Gaud, Central University, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. On behalf of Inspira Research Association, KCECS College of Engineering and Management, Jalgaon, and Shri Tagore College, Kuchaman City, I welcome Professor Manvinder Singh Pava on today's session. Before I invite Professor Pava to start the session, I would like to throw some light on his career so far. Professor Pava, an esteemed alumnus of the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, is a distinguished academician with a prolific career spanning 25 years. His professional journey is a remarkable amalgamation of academia, industry exposure, corporate consultancy, and research excellence. His core area of expertise include business analytics, entrepreneurship, business finance, and corporate laws. Beyond his academic credentials, Dr. Pava is a professionally qualified company secretary and has been awarded a gold medal in LLM MBA, and additionally he has secured top ranking position in LLB, PGDHR and PGDIB at the university level, further solidifying his academic prowess. Dr. Pava has been extensively engaged in corporate consultancy and has actively practiced as a company secretary. His significant contributions include the incorporation and dissolution of over 200 companies, along with facilitating corporate fundraising through diverse sources, including banks, financial institutions, NBFCs, and project financing mechanisms. His proficiency extends to successfully managing initial public offerings. In the domain of executive education, Dr. Pava has conducted and delivered over 150 specialized courses and management development programs for esteemed corporate entities, including IAFCL, IPL, Indian Oil, ONGC, and PFCI. His expertise also encompasses delivering faculty development programs for both government and private institutions, including AICTE, ICSSR, UGC-sponsored FDPs, UGC, HRDC, refresher course orientation programs, etc. His lectures covered a broad spectrum, including use of artificial intelligence in business analytics, research methodology, pedagogy, personal effectiveness, work ethics, soft skills, SPSS, legal compliances, entrepreneurship, and financial modeling. Dr. Pava has actively participated in numerous national and international conferences and has chaired multiple sessions both in India and abroad. He boasts an impressive publication record with 70 research papers published in reputed national and international journals, including Scopus Indexed journals, conference proceedings, and books. Under his guidance, 8 PhD scholars have successfully completed their doctoral research, with several more currently pursuing their PhD degrees. In recognition of his research contribution, he was awarded 3 patents in recent past. And presently, Dr. Pava holds the esteemed position of professor in the Department of Commerce and member of Academic Council, Dr. Hari Singh Gaud, Central University, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. His unparalleled dedication to academia, research, and industry consultancy continues to set a new benchmark in the field of commerce and management education. Sir, I don't have words. It is a very, so big achievement. I welcome you, sir.
Abhijit, all the grace of God and the blessings of the elders.
Thank you for sparing your time, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's all the grace of God, I would say, and blessings of all the elders, because of which whatsoever is there. Otherwise, I am nothing. And I'm just a learner and will be learning this. Again, this platform will be a learning for me. let us learn together, I would say. Let us interact. Let us do some exchange of knowledge so that mutually we can gain something. That would be the agenda what I would like to take up over here. So yes, because this is a third day and I have been given the topic which is related to qualitative and quantitative research and analysis. Yes, true that I have been doing this before also. And I'm very much thankful to Inspira Research Association, which has provided me a great platform to get in connect with everyone, and especially SS Modi sir, who has always blessed me and always encouraged me. Means they have actually induced me to bring up good things on the platter. And this is just because of Inspira. I could learn many things because I had to deliver. This is a true thing that if you have an opportunity to deliver, that induces you to learn more and more. So I would just, you can say, put this up to all of you that if you really want to learn, please try to designate more and more so that more things will come to you, and let's share the knowledge in order to enhance it. This is only the thing which is applicable, that if we share anything, that gets reduced. But if we share knowledge, that increases always. So with this agenda, let us just start the workshop today. With permission of SS Modi sir, Ravi ji, should I just proceed further?
Please, sir, please.
Please, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Aarti. And let me just share my screen first.
Yes.
I'm sharing you share the screen. I hope the screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir. It is visible.
I hope the full screen is there, or do you want some adjustment in the same?
We can see the banner, sir. The banner of FDP with your pic.
Fine. Okay. So before we start, I start with the expectation of my participants, those who are here with me today.
Yes, sir.
So,
And sir, one more
yes.
thing you already told, please tell them to switch the video on while asking any question to you.
Yeah, that is must, because while we are interacting, and it should not be a passive interaction, right? So in order to have a active one, and in order to be active, I also want to be active with you. So my video will always be on. Okay. So whenever you are asking, so I would request that your video must always be on, right? So that we can actually see each other and try to interact with each other in a better way. So this would I would like to say. And whenever you are asking any question, at least at that time, you should put your video always on, so that we can see who is actually asking a question, who is having a doubt, and whose doubt has been cleared. Because facial expression says a lot. This is again a qualitative data which I would be receiving from someone, whether you are understanding or not. Okay, so this is something which is required. So yeah, yes, let us start the workshop. So let me ask you your expectations. Okay, how many of you have attended my workshops before? Raise your hands. You can use the thing. So you can raise your hand. How many of you have attended my workshops or my sessions before? Anyone? No one? Rabiji?
Sir, most
Sir,
of
they
them
are-
are writing no, because
they are writing
most
no
of them
because-
are the new.
You know,
Okay.
sir, no.
Sumanna ji has, yeah, Sumanna.
Vandana ji, yes. Yeah.
Sumana ji,
I
you can
could-
unmute.
I
You
could
can
remember
unmute
also.
yourself.
Can you please open your video? Yes, ma'am. You are. Okay. So let us just ask someone that those who are new particularly, that what are your expectations out of this particular session? What you have thought that what this session will provide you? Anyone? Yes. We can even announce an award of a good participation if Raviji allows me.
Yes, sir, of course. And we will give them certificate also if you
Great, great.
give us the name.
Great that if you will be getting a participation means active participant certificate can be provided. Yes, Dr. Venkat, can you please tell me that what are your expectations?
You may unmute yourself.
Excuse me, sir. May I?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Good evening,
hi.
sir.
Yeah, very good.
Good evening. Good evening to
Dr.
both.
Venkat.
Sir, my expectation is in qualitative research, how we collect the data from each respondent and what sort of topics are easy to handle and easily acceptable topics. And
Okay.
that is one in qualitative and quantitative, just whatever writings we are doing, most of the top tier articles, they don't accept so easily. So where we are lacking, we are not understanding, sir. And the low level articles, low level journals, they're accepting, but high level journals, they're not accepting so easily.
Because the level is high, na?
Level is high, though we are working to improve
Okay,
the quality.
I will discuss that also. Though it's out of the scope of by today's thing, but I will tell you that what are the things which you should actually do in order to get your articles acceptable in our good journal. We'll cover to some
Sir,
extent your analysis. Okay, thank you,
yes,
Dr.
sir. And only one more doubt is
Yeah,
collection
yeah.
sample data collection is becoming a hectic problem.
Uh,
So we are not getting the proper data from the respondents, though we are struggling sending to various groups. It's taking so much time and outliers are also big problem.
yes,
So
yes.
what data we get and what we analysis we do is there is no matching at all. And with the collected data, we do analysis, we are not getting proper results also. Yeah, so all that disturbances are there in the research, sir. Initially, data collection, quantitative and qualitative, these are the things. So
The mismatch between the data collected and the results which you are getting. Yeah, what
Ah,
are the reasons for that? You want to understand it? Okay.
But- Sir,
It's in my mind. Yeah. So while at the end of the session today, if I skip to or I means if I cannot answer this in my session itself, please remind me again, Dr. Venkataraman. I would ask you also at that time that what was the thing that you have, because while you have asked it's my duty to fulfill your expectation, right? So we'll
yes, sir.
have a level best to do that in the best possible way. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anyone else has raised the hand? Is there anyone else who is having some expectation out of this workshop or how many participants are there, Raviji, today?
Sir, 75 participants
Excellent.
joined.
Excellent. And I am
And
expecting
some more participants will join.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so anyone else has raised the hand in order to show their expectations out of today's workshop or today's session? Yes, Sakshi Sharma.
Sakshi ji, please unmute. Please open your camera also.
Yes, Sakshi ji.
हेलो सर,
Yeah.
नमस्कार सर।
Namaste.
सर मैं इससे पहले भी आपकी एक और वर्कशॉप हुई थी एफडीपी की, जिसमें आपने चैट जीपीटी से बताया था कि कैसे हमें डेटा एनालिसिस करना है। तो इस बार सर मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन यही है कि एक्चुअली मैं थीसिस राइटिंग कर रही हूँ, डेटा एनालिसिस वाला मेरा पार्ट चल रहा है। तो जैसे में हमने चैट जीपीटी आपने सिखाया था तो काफी इजी हो गया था सर उस पर काम करना। तो मैं एक्साइटेड हूँ इसलिए कि आज हमें कुछ नया सीखने को मिलेगा। कोई और आप बताएंगे? स्पेशली सर एसपीएसएस पे मैं काम कर रही हूँ, थोड़ा उस पे मुझे थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, तो इस वजह से मैंने ये वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन करी है, स्पेशली सर आपकी क्लास की वजह से।
पर साक्षी जी, मेरे पास केवल 1-1.5 घंटा ही है, तो 1-1.5
जी।
घंटे में आप क्या बता पाऊंगा मुझे भी नहीं है पता, क्योंकि एक्चुअली इसमें इस वाले वर्कशॉप में जो मैं कवर करने वाला हूँ वो क्वालिटेटिव और क्वांटिटेटिव दोनों चीजें।
जी।
अब आप किस चीज पे काम कर रहे हो, तो आप एक काम कर सकते हो,
यस
आप मेरा
सर।
नंबर को लीजिए, आप मेरे से पर्सनली पूछ लीजिएगा, मैं आपको उसमें भी गाइड कर दूँ।
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके सर।
वो क्या हो जाएगा, आपका अपना जो स्पेसिफिक जो आप करना चाह रही है ना,
जी।
उसी को जो है अपना काम हो जाएगा और आपको स्पेसिफिकली वही मिलेगा जो आप चाहते हैं।
ओके ओके,
है
थैंक
ना?
यू सर।
मैं आपको एट द एंड ऑफ द वर्कशॉप मैं अपना नंबर शेयर करूंगा चैट बॉक्स में, आप मेरा
ओके
दे सकते हैं, बस रवि जी से भी आप काम करके वो दे देते
जी सर थैंक यू सो मच
हैं, बिल्कुल हम बात करेंगे, ठीक है, थैंक यू।
Pava sir, we will take questions at the end.
हाँ, वी विल टेक क्वेश्चंस इन बिटवीन, सर इसको एक्टिव रहने देंगे। श्वेता सिंह शायद कुछ पूछना चाह रही है, कुछ कहना चाह रही है। श्वेता सिंह ने भी हाथ खड़ा किया था।
श्वेता जी पूछ।
है नहीं है?
नो नहीं है सर, वो she will, we will take the questions at the end sir.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं। ठीक, तो स्क्रीन शेयरिंग तो ऑन ही है या फिर ऑफ होगी?
No sir, you have to do again.
अच्छा, मैं फिर से करने की कोशिश करूँ। ठीक है,
Yes sir, it is coming. Yes.
यार
Yes sir.
मुझे लग रहा था स्क्रीन शेयरिंग चली गई। चलिए देखिए, आज का जो today's session actually is about the qualitative and the quantitative data flow. Okay, so सबसे पहले तो अपन let me just ask you one question. What is data? Anyone? What do you mean by data? Or what actually data is? And why data is so important? बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन मैंने पूछा है।
Processed information.
हाँ जी सुमिता जी,
So it is just a raw material. We are going to use it as an information.
ओके, अच्छा तो मेघा, मेघा प्लीज टेल।
Yes, sir. I feel it is just a collection of numbers and facts.
Number and facts. Okay. Okay. So, what is information then? Anyone?
So it is the processed data. That means whatever we have collected, it should have some information, which is conveying some information or giving some information.
Okay. So, I would say that we are full of information and we try to collect some data out of it. Data is actually, if you say something, what comes in your mind if I ask this question that you have a data, this word when it triggers, when it comes in the mind, what imagination do you have in your mind? What a data is? Anyone? आप डेटा को इमेजिन कीजिए, मैंने आपसे बोला कि भाई डेटा क्या होता है, तो आपके मन में और आपके माइंड में पहले क्या आया, या फिर क्या चीज ऐसी आई जिससे आप कह सकते हो कि ये डेटा होता है?
The information gathered in a systematic way.
ओके, यस, कैसा सिस्टमैटिक, मतलब आपको इमेजिन कीजिए ना, क्या क्या दिख रहा है, आंख बंद करके भी इमेजिन कर सकते हो आप कि आपको क्या दिखता है जब मैं कहता हूं डेटा। जैसे आप बोलते हो ना कि मेरे पापा, तो आपको पापा की फोटो नजर आती है अपने मन में, तो जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ डेटा तो आपको क्या क्या दिखता है?
So it can be anything, collection of words, numbers, figures, everything.
एक टेबल जैसा नजर आता है, टेबल, एक टेबल जैसा इमेजिन होता है टेबल कि एक कुछ एक्सेल टाइप शीट है, कुछ रोज हैं, कुछ कॉलम्स हैं, और उसमें ना कुछ कुछ चीजें भरी हुई हैं, ऐसा 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 लगता है, इसको अपन डेटा बोलते हैं, है ना? ऐसे ही कुछ आता है मन में, माइंड में, कि जब हम सोचते हैं डेटा के बारे में, एक टेबल से आ जाती है और उसमें कुछ लिखा रहता है ना? तो वो क्या है, मतलब वो टेबल में क्यों है? क्योंकि अभी अभी आपने बताया कि इट इज अ वेल अरेंज्ड इंफॉर्मेशन। The information, when it is arranged in a manner which is ready for the analysis, then we say that it is data. But when we analyze the data, then information is generated on it, right? And that information may or may not be useful for some people. Okay. And when the information is useful for certain people, we try to gather those information which are useful for me from various sources. I try to get that information from various sources which I think that it is useful for me. And when I collect them, then we say it is a data. And then when it comes to data, we would say that data is now ready for the analysis. Okay. So that's how we actually do what the data is. Okay, that's how we actually say what the data is, right? So today's workshop particularly, or today's session particularly, is on the qualitative and quantitative data analysis, and this particular workshop is around the resource methodology and AI integration, which redefines the academic research excellence. Means how can you redefine it? So today, what I would be taking is your quantitative and qualitative. So let us talk about what is a quantitative data. So suppose an evaluator may wish to measure a knowledge of the social skills among the program participants. The evaluator may administer surveys to the participants to test their knowledge of the social skills which they have. Okay. So this is something which where I will be collecting some quantitative data. I will be doing something which is counted or expressed numerically. I have to define the variables, or variables can be identified and the relationships can be measured. Now, what the relationship can be measured? That I want to test the knowledge of the social skill among the participants. I would like to inquire, or I would like to say whether these participants are up to the mark of my knowledge. So I already have some benchmark, and I would like all these participants. I would like the to test whether these participants actually match with the benchmark which I have already established. Okay. So this again, whether they are capable of achieving that particular benchmark or not, I have to use statistical analysis for that. I hope you are able to understand. Okay. So in order to understand, in order to do that, I have to collect some data. And I must be having some benchmark, and I would be comparing these things in order to come upon a certain conclusion. Or we often try to perceive as more objective method of the data analysis whether my participants or my gentry is capable of having that level or not. Now, these data is typically collected from the surveys, or you can say the questionnaire, which is the objective method of collecting the data, and these are often represented either visually in the form of graphs or charts, or we try to express the outcome in the form of certain things, which can be in the form of certain tables, and then we write some interpretation on it. So we try to actually benchmark our thing against certain standard, and would like to come upon a conclusion whether the things are fulfilling that particular standard. For example, I just want to compare with, I want to establish a correlation between two things. So I must be having some quantitative things so that I can have a better comparison. Another important aspect you can say could be, if I would like to establish a relationship between one dependent and another independent factor, whether to what extent the dependent is dependent on the independent. Because independent is independent. It will keep on, it is having all the freedom to move. But the dependent factor or the dependent variable, to what extent is dependent on the independent one? Here I would like to use the regression model. So again, what I would be requiring is the data in the form of quantities, the data in the form of numbers, where I would be able to understand or know or try to say that this is to what extent is dependent on, means what change I would do in the independent and what change is happening on the dependent variable. So there is an established relationship between these. So when I'm just understanding a relationship, then I would like to understand the association or the correlation. But where I'm trying to understand or know the impact or effect of one variable on another, it will be one more thing ahead of the correlation, which is called regression. Okay, we'll talk about more about these things, and I have some other tools also which we would be saying. So another is your qualitative tools and techniques, right? So qualitative tools and techniques, if we talk about, then there is a coding which we do, and particularly when we talk about coding, it is done in, I mean, this is one of the tools you can say. It's upon the open Excel or the selective coding we do. Manual or the software based coding, these are the two, Xcoda and NVO are the two softwares which actually helps us in automating the coding. Once we have done for one, it can be automated to others. Thematic analysis can be done using a qualitative tool. So this thematic analysis is another, you can say, method of qualitative, you can say technique. It's a technique of doing a qualitative analysis, where we identify the themes from the responses which we have. Suppose, for example, we have feedback from 10 students. That what clarity do they have about the the courses which they have. Suppose, for example, we take a feedback from all of you regarding my session. That was the session understandable or not, or what? So there can be what it can be: course quality, or you can say course clarity, faculty response, or you can say intellectuality or dissemination. So these can be various, you can say, we can identify various themes out of the feedback which we have taken from the student. But mind it, this feedback from the student is not in the form of the question. Here, you may have talked about something to the students, and they might have some words which they might have uttered, which you can take up, that what they are talking about, any faculty or any what feedback they are giving about. Okay, so this is something, and we try to make an analysis out of those themes, that what is the thought process of a particular, you can say, the student or the participant regarding a faculty. Okay, so that we can make. Another is your content analysis, where I will be discussing more about all these things, where we quantify the presence of certain words, or you can say some themes. For example, counting how many times this sustainability appears in the. So we try to, sometimes there are research papers. So if I would like to understand that on what theme or what is the crux on which a paper is talking about, or what it is talking about mostly. So this is something which is related to, you can say, the content is to be analyzed, and we can understand that this paper talks more either about the sustainability, or it is talking about more about the accounting, or it is talking more about the environment, or it is talking more about the business. So now, for example, if we try to understand that where the paper is actually going, so you try to count that how many times the word sustainability or its synonyms has been used in order to understand and know about it, what the paper is calling. Okay. In the same way, there is a grounded theory, which actually is a tool which is used when you do not have the data. Means you do not have, you have not yet started thinking even about certain things which are not there. Suppose, for example, my fourth or fifth PhD awarded under my guidance was on a mixed method approach, which actually used the grounded theory, and we used the software which is called Atlas TI, and it happened in 2012-13, just 12 years back from now. And we tried to establish certain theories, and that the work was on civil aviation in India. Probably that might be the first PhD in civil aviation in the country. At that time, I was with the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, where I was head of Department of Accounting and Finance. And this thing came to us. So, and for the first time, I understood and applied the grounded theory, because there was nothing called civil aviation in India at that time, and we were just exploring the possibilities that what can be the various things which can make civil aviation possible in India, or which can make or what theory we should give in order to, that what are the things which we need to establish in order to have a better civil aviation. Okay, so this is something which is related to building theories and in-depth understanding of the specific instances, like what actually is going on. So what are the things, what are the theories which are grounded in the data we would like to analyze those, or what are the learnings out of the case study which is there when we are collecting data from an informal, or you can say the non-objective type of response. Okay, so this is about. So if we talk particularly about the coding, can say the open coding is there and there is selective coding. So particularly why we actually code a data. So it is something which is related to breaking down the data into various parts, and that's why we code. And we assign a separate code to each idea or the concept. Now the purpose is to discover the patterns or the categories in the raw. Suppose, for example, somebody told, I found teaching very engaging and the teachers always motivate us. Now here two things are. One code can be engaging teaching, and because it is something which is related to teacher. Or you can say a teacher is a motivator. So this is something which has come up out of this, that I could found teaching very engaging and the teacher always motivate. So these are the things which are the codes. And when we are again, you can say analyzing some other things which we have, we try to understand and know whether these codes are appearing how many times, or how many times the respondents have talked something which is related to these. Okay, so this will be the open coding, or you can say the initial coding which is done. In the same way, axial coding is also there, as is there things. And here, what we are doing, we are linking the categories and the subcategories identified in the open. So in open coding, what we did, we just tried to identify that what are the codes which are available. And in axial coding, we are actually establishing the axial, means axis. What are the axes? Axis is x-axis, y-axis. So when we try to prepare a graph, we have x-axis and y-axis. And why we are preparing this? Because we want to understand the relationship between, suppose, demand and price. Price and demand relationship can be understood with the help of two axes. In the same way, when we are trying to establish certain relationship between the identified codes, then we can use this particular axial coding as such. This is something which actually groups the code into the four categories, or you can say the four qualified. For example, I've just now taken the example of engaging teaching and the teacher teaching motivation. You can say interactive sessions can be outcome, right? So if you are having a teacher who is engaging and he motivates also, then what will happen? Interactive sessions will happen. Just now we have seen the example. I motivated you to just tell me your expectation. You have told that, and what has happened is a good interaction between humans. Okay. So actually what we are doing is that we are actually identifying the coding and trying to establish the relationship among the codes. So what can be the open code? We have just identified engaging teaching, motivation, and interactive sessions. So axial category, what it will be? Effective teaching strategies can be one of the axial category which can come. Next is your selective coding. What actually selective coding is? So it actually identifies a center or the core category and systematically relates the other categories to the existing category. Okay. And what is actually why we do it? We are actually trying to construct a theory or a narrative out of the main idea which we have. So what we are doing is we are actually identifying certain core category or some central idea, some systematically related categories which are related to the core idea. Then we use. Suppose, for example, the core category can be student-centered learning. This is something which is the core category, which can be identified with the help of teacher support, student participation, interactive content. So ultimate thing is something which is coming to be the you can say student-centered type of learning, which is you can say another type of. So these are the three things which we are having. So there are various other types of coding which are based on the strategy. This is something which is called prescriptive coding. So you can say which actually describes, or you can say it actually summarizes the basic type of coding which is there. In vivo coding, we try to code because we are now using the respondents' own words as the codes, which are used by respondents themselves. So, for example, the codes, the respondent has told that this particular course which Ravi has launched for 6 days is a game changer. So, game changer itself is a code which are being used by the people over. So this is called vivo coding when we are using the codes which are used by the respondent. Next is your process coding, or you can say there is a you can understand it in the way that that you actually try to capture the actions or the procedures which is there. Okay, and this is most popular when we are using the grounded theory, then we try to have this process coding so that what is actually happening, right? So when the students are having the suppose brainstorming solution, so brainstorming solution itself is a code which can be. In the same way, some emotion codings are there, some psychological or conflict research type of. So suppose, for example, I felt overwhelmed by the workload. Okay. So this is something which actually depicts stress, overwhelm. Okay, so this can also, because sometimes when we are trying to go for sentiment analysis, this type of coding is actually helpful. In the same way, value coding is there when we are identifying the values or beliefs or the attitudes. In the same way, holistic coding is there when we are assessing a single code to the large chunk of the data. Right? So there itself we are actually using it. Now, what happens regarding the manual and the software-based coding, or you can say this is also one of the things which needs a discussion. Or you can say the manual coding is nothing but it is done with the help of a paper pencil, or you can say word files, right? And the software-based coding are used by using NVivo, Maxpora, Atlas TI. Maxpora is very recent one. Atlas TI, which we have used in my PhD, so that form. So time it is, so when we are talking about the manual coding, it is more time consuming, whereas the software-based coding are very fast and with the tools which are actually prone to the human bias, a better data visualization can be witnessed with the help of the software based. Where you have small data set, then software based coding will again be a problem. So you can, if the database is very small, respondents are very less, you can go for this paper pencil coding, or you can say manual coding. But if you have huge database, here not only the software will come up, but a complex type of, you can say, which are the things which are large projects, they also will be possible only with the help of software with code. Next is your thematic analysis, particularly what actually thematic analysis is. So it is nothing but you can say it's a method of identifying, analyzing, organizing, describing, and reporting the themes in the qualitative data. It actually helps in interpretation of the patterns which are there. Suppose psychological patterns are there, some social science pattern, some educational research pattern is there. So it is a method for systematically identifying, organizing, and offering insights into the pattern, or you can say insight into the themes that know about data. Okay. Now, why we use it? We use it to make a sense of a common experience or opinions in the data set, or you want to go beyond the coding and develop the themes for interpretation, or to support the theory generation, narrative building, or you can say policy insights. So various things for which it can be used. Okay. So, but the main thing is in order to have the crux of the respondents and in order to understand their emotions, sometimes with thematic analysis. So, particularly, we try to go with the focus group interviews, or you can say the open-ended surveys, or some interview transcripts if we have. We can actually go with this thematic analysis, which is help in understanding the perception, the beliefs, the experience. So when we are working with the textual, you can say audio or the video data, these things are helpful. I told you the definition of data, which looks like as if it is a table, but the table cannot now be a data, because data is something which is having no shape, no size, no velocity. Even there is a lot of speed with which the data is coming up. So that is again which we have to understand. So anything can be data. And that is the beauty of having a qualitative data, because qualitative data particularly is used for doing the research which cannot be done in a quantitative manner, some quantitative way. There can be certain things, the perceptions, beliefs, and the experiences, which you cannot record in terms of numbers. There the qualitative data plays on. So when we are collecting the thematic analysis, or when we are doing thematic analysis, there are certain, you can say, steps which are involved, and you must go this very can say patiently, and try to do better thematic analysis. And what will make your thematic analysis good is, you can say, you can have relevant answers, and which are relevant to your research question. You should ask those things. It should be supported by sufficient data extracts, and there should not be any overlapping. And internally and logically structured it should be, right? And it must be actionable, means some conclusion must be drawn out of the things, right? So, suppose, for example, you want to go for a thematic analysis. I'm just reading out one statement. Suppose maybe it is related to the class itself. Well, we are doing some online class, so I can tell you that sometimes it happens that a person is suppose for example, I would say that I used to feel disconnected in physical classroom, but during the online classes I had more flexibility and support from them. So this is just a statement which has been taken from a person who is doing online classes after COVID-19. And I would like to understand the theme behind this particular statement, that I have used to be disconnected in the physical classroom, but in online classroom, I have more flexibility and support from the principal. Now, what are the codes which can be identified? So, the most important thing is number one is disconnection in physical class and flexibility in online class. And another thing is that instructor support is there. Now, what we are trying to understand is nothing but we are comparing offline and online. And my ultimate theme is to analyze or understand the benefits of online learning. Okay, so this can be one of the good example that how I have arrived out of it. It is very easy. It's very easy if you understand the subject, right? So there are various types of thematic analysis. You can say this can be reflexive analysis. You can say coding reliability, notebook PA. So there are predetermined codes for some flexible or semi-structured type of data which is there, right? Codebook PA actually provides you the benefit of having these all things already ready-madely prepared. And if we talk about softwares which are used particularly for the thematic analysis, NVivo is one, Maxcoda is another one, Atlas DI is there. One more is there, Dovetail, this time has come up. You can also use Microsoft Excel for small projects or for you can say for basic code looking. Okay. ChatGPT also is always helpful, particularly for qualitative research. With the help of good prompts, you can even have good results in very good results in ChatGPT, particularly when you are doing thematic analysis. Okay. So what we should do is we should always use a code book to keep a track of all the codes, all the things, and we should include the reverse voices by selecting various codes. Also, this is again a tool which is already given in the software that how can you can have the reverse voices. Another thing you can do you must use a verbatim excerpts to justify the thing. Okay. And you must keep you can say reflective journal on why certain things are happening. Okay, so this particularly are the good practices which can be done. Now, what are the benefits of thematic analysis? Why we do it? Because it is very flexible, it is adaptable, and it can be applied to various qualitative traditions. Suppose you want to go for some narrative analysis, or you want to understand some phenomenology, that how the things are happening. So that is the theme you want to understand. So that can be applied, and thematic analysis is very good in analyzing these things. Further, it can be used for both academic and the applied research. Yes, okay. And it helps in exploring the complex social or psychological phenomena of what is demand. Okay. So this is all about your thematic analysis, and next is your content analysis. Very important. So content analysis is you can say it's a systematic, objective, and replicable method which is used to analyze the content of the communication which is there. You can have audio, text, video, visuals, which actually involves a quantifying the presence of certain words. Means you are counting that how many times certain words or its synonyms have appeared in order to understand. So like I told you about that, how many times sustainability has come in the book. So it actually understands, or you can say tells about that how the content can further be used. So why we do it? Why we or when we do it? Means when we have to identify the patterns of the trends, specifically the frequency of the words which are coming up, or we want to compare different documents or the speeches or the messages that who has actually spoken more about certain. So we can do this content analysis further. If we want to measure the bias, that to what extent certain people are inclined towards certain aspect, or you want to understand that I have emphasized more on which communication or you can say which part of the world or which part of the thing. Okay. Further, if you want to quantify the qualitative data or you want to convert it into numbers, then also we use this content. Suppose I want to understand that whether a media has covered my thing properly, or I want to ask what is the sentiment of the social media regarding my launch of my product in the market. Okay, so at that time we can use this content analysis in order to know and understand the, or you want to understand the policies or the advertisement on the political speeches on which politicians are providing, or you can say sometimes we need to evaluate the open-ended survey, or I want to, the practical example which we did now recently using AI particularly was comparing the curriculum. Actually, I'm a member of Board of Studies of 3-4 universities. So there I wanted to compare whether the curriculum of one university is better than other one. So I use this content analysis in order to compare the curriculum documents, or comparing the, you can say even textbooks can be compared, or even the campaigning material of the politicians can be compared. Okay. So, but the comparison again is of various types, or you can say the purpose. For example, there is a conceptual analysis. There are relational, I told you about conceptual analysis in the very beginning. Relational analysis is also there. Okay. Or you can say, I want to understand the focus of the manifest, which is or election manifest, you can say. Or I want to understand the latent content of any theme or any, you can say, any type of analysis. So, what are the things which are there? So, I can always look forward for these type of. Now, for doing this, what I have to do, I have to define my research objectives first, and then I have to select a content sample where I will be, for whom I will be developing a coding scheme. And coding scheme can be identified by use of keywords or themes, or and then you can go with the, you can say, coding of the content and analyze the results, write the interpretation and reporting, and finally you can conclude the content. For example, I just want to do a content analysis of news article. So what should be my objective? So my objective can be to examine how the newspaper represent a topic of, suppose, climate change. So how it is addressing that? That is again important. So what I will do, I will just go with the 50 newspaper or 100 newspaper articles of the national news papers daily, which are to buy them. Okay, so different 50 papers are there. So out of that, I just want to understand how and to what extent they are talking about climate change. So are they really talking or not? So these can be the things on which the content analysis can always be there. And again, I would say this NBGO and MaxCoda, these are the two tools which can be used in order to have a proper content analysis. Okay, Atlas TI is also the thing which actually helps in the content analysis, besides working on the grounded theory part. Now, why we do it, or what are the, you can say, the benefits of doing the content? It's actually what we are doing. We are actually combining the qualitative depth with the quantitative structure. When this is the purpose, then you must use this content analysis. And whether it is applicable to the large data set. So when we are having large data set, then we must go for it. That what is the crux of it? What is the sentiment, or what is the content? What is the sentiment of the content? If we want to understand and know, we should actually go for this content analysis. And it is having flexible among this all the disciplines whatsoever. It is, you can say, very useful, particularly when we are going with the longitudinal comparison with change in time. Okay. So it is again one thing which can, however, be used in a better way. Okay. Now, grounded theory approach is there, or we can say the case study type of approach is there. Now, why we use this particularly case study? Because case studies happen for a particular type of thing. Suppose, for example, I just want to understand and know that what are the issues which are there, particularly in the private sector banks, which are actually making them earn better than the public sector. Suppose I want to understand. And I do not have much data, but I have some you can say bank which is ready to give me, or which is ready to give me interview also and the data also. So with the help of one bank, I would try to replicate the outcome for the other private sector similar type of bank. So when you have to gain a detailed understanding of the certain complex issues or complex things which are going on, then you can use this case study method. And this is certain things which are applicable only to those. Actually, we are understanding the how and why of the research question. When these are the things, then we try to go for the case study type of. So it is, I would say, intrinsic, which is having a focus on for its own sake, and it is again instrumental because it can be replicated to others, and you can have the collective or the multiple conclusions out of the same case. Okay, so the pattern can be either, you can say it is exploratory or explanatory also, and some cases are, to some extent, they are descriptive. So these are certain things about the case studies, that how the case studies actually are and how and why they are. Okay. So suppose, for example, again this COVID-19 is coming, and we can even understand and know the impact of the COVID-19 on the rural primary school in Madhya Pradesh, suppose. That what was the impact of this? So COVID-19 has come for once, and how it has impacted the primary schools of Madhya Pradesh. So it would be good if I could collect data from 2, 3, 4, 5 schools, not more than, which will be replicable to the other schools of Madhya Pradesh, which are rural and which are primary. Okay. So we have to set the boundaries. We have to set the, you can say, the scope of the study within which we have to work, particularly when we are using the case study. Okay. So when we are collecting data, particularly, Then we go for this triangulated sources. We can go for interviews and observation, documents and reports and photograms. So this can always be used in order to understand and know how the case study actually works. Okay. So once you get the data, then you analyze it and then try to report on the basis of it. Right. So this is something which is related to case. Again, NVivo, Evernote, Word, Excel, or you can say Atlas TI. These are the tools which can be used particularly for a grounded theory or the you can say the case study workflows. Okay. So this is about the qualitative data which we have actually understood. So what actually evaluators are doing? Actually, they wish to look at the level of engagement of, suppose, for example, after school staff in the program. So they might conduct some interviews of these particular staff members to capture the level of the engagement at each of the staff members fields that they experience. They had certain experience in the field. So it is comprising of non-numerical data, as I have already told you, because we try to explain and understand the patterns and the meaning. We are not making any comparison over here. So the objective itself is different from the quantitative objective itself. Okay, so it is often described as you can say more rich than the quantitative data, because there are certain things which cannot be quantified, and this particular approach actually uses that. So this is gathered and analyzed by an individual, which will be more subjective. It's not objective, it's more subjective, and can be collected through observation, focus group, interviews, case studies. These are the things on the basis of which or for which we actually go for collection of the. Okay, next is your mixed method approach, and you can say when the evaluator may administer a survey to participant that solicits the answer which are eligible for statistical analysis, as well as to conduct a focus group with a sampling of participants to capture any nuance of the surveys that which a survey is mixed actually. So sometimes we are not able to get proper data when we are doing a quantitative analysis. So qualitative analysis actually fulfills that purpose. And here what we do is in mixed method approach, we collect both quantitative and qualitative data from the same box. As I just now told you that we use this grounded theory approach using Atlas TI at that time, and we used this mixed method approach. And during that time, what we did was that we designed a questionnaire also out of the factors which were determined using the content analysis of the conversation data which we have taken from various sources, and try to understand that whether the qualitative data, what the qualitative data is speaking, quantitative data is able to converge that for me. So that is very good, you can say, approach, but may not be applicable all the time. They can use both their fields, and it explains the unexpected results obtaining using only one approach, that is quantitative or qualitative. The mixed method approach actually gives you completely another dimensions which you would never have imagined even using your individual separate quantitative or qualitative. That's why mixed method data is very, very important. Further, it helps capture both process and the outcome of the results, and it may strengthen your analysis portion, as I have already told you just now about. Now, there are various statistical softwares which you can use in order to go for the quantitative analysis, particularly when we talk about. So MS Excel is there, it's a part of the Office suite, which is there, and we daily use it in our management and the data analysis. So this is a very, very simple tool which is there, which can make your work. Next is your SPSS and another one is your R. R actually is a free statistical software which integrates a wide variety of the types of the statistical analysis which are there. Okay, so that is how they do it. R is also another, as I told you. SPSS is a paid software which are there. There are other things also which we call Microsoft Power BI. Okay, Power BI is not there. Only because the logo is Microsoft only. So Power BI is, you can say it's one of the top business intelligence platform with the support of dozens of data sources. It allows the researcher to create and share the reports along with the visualization and the dashboards also. So it provides you a lot of things, right? And here what can be done is that you can combine a group of dashboards and reports into a Power BI application in order to make the distribution simple. It also allows, or you can say, it also facilitates the automated machine learning models. And it can be integrated using Azure machine learning. It integrates with that. Right? SAP is another, you can say, business model or business object which provides a suite of business intelligence applications for data discovery, analysis, reporting. I remember the time when I think in India, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies was the first university to apply ERP in their systems. And we were all provided, we were HODs, so we were provided the training of SAP. And we all went to Bangalore for 4 days over there to have a good interactive training on SAP. Okay. So there I could understand that it is not SAP. It is SAP and it is something which is related to Germany. Okay. So this is SAP is also one of the things where it's going to be there. In the same way, SciSense is another platform which is helps both technical and the business analysis. IPCO's for Spotfire is there, which will be, you can say, the data analytics platform which provides a natural NLP, natural language search, and AI powered data insights. Okay, so these are various other softwares also are there where you have in order to do with the analysis, Click is there. You can even have SAS business intelligence, or you can even go for Tableau. Tableau is also another data visualization and the analytical platform, but it is again paid, but really it provides you very good interactive solutions. Believe me. In the same way, we have Google Data Studio where various things are there which can be done or it can be analyzed. And the Redash is there. It's you can say cost effective, particularly tool for verifying the data. So if you have big data, then you have data for resources for data mining purpose. Periscope is also there. It is there as such. Jupyter Notebook is the one which is again important. Just a moment. IBM Cognos is there. Charito is also. So there are various AI tools I have given you. Anything one more is also this mode is there or not? Not mode, yes, mode. Mode is also one of the analytical platform. Means lot of things are there. 9 is there for you can say again it's a free open source data analysis platform which can be used. So these are the logos which I have already given. Looker is also one. This is a part of the Google Cloud. You can say is there. Rapid Miner is also one of the old tools which are there also. So these are the trending tools which are there particularly. And let us talk about something about, because various other analysis you have already talked about. So I would like to tell you something about the multivariate techniques. So there are certain multivariate quantitative techniques, and this has become a fashion nowadays to use the multivariate techniques. So I understand that you will be able to understand, you will be able to appreciate this particular. But the innocent researchers, like those who are fresh researchers, they apply these techniques for the sake of applying it, without thinking which multivariate techniques will be applied, and then they get victimized of the wrong and the non-required interpretation, which are not in line with their method. So there you should not get victimized. This is another important thing which you must know. So which techniques to apply and when these techniques have to apply, right? So there is a selection of multivariate technique which is based on the 3 things. So we must remember this, that when we are selecting any quantitative technique, we must understand 3 things, that is the problem statement, the research objectives, and the nature of the data which is available. Okay. So this is again important, and the decision is completely based on the classification of the variable. So again a question is there. Can the variables be divided into dependent and independent? Or can we classify the variables on the basis of certain existing theory? So it actually constrains to think whether the technique to be used is a dependence technique or interdependence technique. Okay. Another thing is on the basis of the decision, on the basis of which decision is taken, that is number of variables which are there in each concept. So how many variables are treated as a dependent in a single analysis? Right. Another thing is the measurement of the variable, or measurement of the variable means how the variables will be measured. Whether it is an independent or a dependent, what are the tools and techniques to measure a particular variable? So these are the things on the basis of which we take decision which multivariate technique or which technique we should actually use. Okay. So if we try to understand this particularly, I prepared this slide while I was in the Manipal University. That's how the logo is still appear before everything. So this is a multivariate data analysis technique. There are types of relationship which I have just got talked about, whether the relationship is a dependence relationship or interdependence relationship. Okay. Now, when we are talking about dependence relationship, what are the variables which are to be predicted? Whether the variables to be predicted are multiple, are having a multiple complex relationship among themselves. I have to ask the question whether my technique or whether my data or whether my things are dependence based or interdependence based. Whether, and if it is dependence based, the variable to be predicted are multiple, are having multiple complex relationship, then you should go for structural equation because the things are dependent on one another. Okay. Now, if the variables to be predicted are multiple dependent variables, previously it was multiple complex. So now it is multiple dependent variables, and the measurement scale of these dependent variables is metric. Means that how I have measured. That's why I told you that dependent and independent variables, how I am measuring the data, and the data is measured as a metric one. It's not a non-metric, right? While you are measuring the data and it is metric, the measurement scale of the predictor variable is also metric, then you should use canonical correlation. Now, see, this is a very, very important thing which I am telling you. That why and when to use, the decision of taking or decision of, you can say, using the techniques. And if again it's dependence techniques and variables to be predicted are multiple dependent variables, and the measurement scale of the dependent variable is metric, but the measurement scale of a predictor variable is non-metric, then you should use multiple analysis of variance or MANOVA. Okay. Now again, if it is a dependence technique, variables to be predicted are multiple dependent variables, and measurement scale of the dependent variable is non-metric. Previously it was metric, now it is a non-metric. Then you should use canonical correlation with W. Okay. Now another thing, here we were at where we were having multiple dependent variables. Yes, multiple dependent variables. Now here we are having only one dependent variable, and the measurement scale of the dependent variable is metric. What we should go for? Multiple regression or quotient analysis. We can go with another. If the measurement scale of the dependent variable is non-metric, then we should go for discriminant analysis, or you can say linear probability models, which are also there. This is again an option which is separately given in the as a option in the SPSS, right? Now let us come on the interdependence type, right? So if we talk about interdependence and the structure of relationship among the variables are there. There are interdependent variables are there. We should go for factor analysis, whether it is confirmatory or exploratory. It again different. Okay. And if it is again interdependence type of thing and the structure of relationship among the it's among not about the variables. Now there is a structural relationship among the cases. Then we should go for cluster analysis. I hope to understand what is the difference between cases and variables. Okay. Cases are nothing but the respondents. If the respondents are having some relationship among themselves, they will form cluster by their own. So that's why this cluster analysis is used at that time. And if the relationship is among the objects and the measurement scale of the attributes is, it can be metric or non-metric, we can go for multi-dimensional scaling. And if it is non-metric strictly, we can go for correspondence analysis. You can take a screenshot of this particular chart, and your most of your objective type questions will be based on this chart itself, which WG has told me to prepare. I've already prepared, but this is on the basis of this chart usually. Okay. Now, I hope you are able to understand what is a predictor variable. Predictor variable is nothing but a variable which is used to predict some other variable. Or you can say when we are using one variable to print the other variable, then it is nothing but the independent variable. Okay. So here I think, because I have used mostly the predictor variable more over here. So I thought I should explain the actually. Okay. Now dependence and interdependence. So dependence technique can be defined as one in which a variable or a set of variables are identified as a dependent variable to be predicted or explained by the other variable that is known as independent variable. I have just not told you. In contrast, what happens? Interdependence technique is the one in which no single variable or the group of variables is defined as being independent or dependent. Rather, the procedure involves the simultaneous analysis of all the variables in the set. Then we say is a interdependence techniques. Very good example is your factor analysis lesson. So let us focus on the dependence techniques first and then use the classification to select the appropriate multivariate method. How will you be able to? So different dependence techniques can be categorized into two with the help of this, which can be the variables which are to be number of dependent variables, and second the types of the measurement scales employed. Right. So variables to be predicted is one dependent variable and multiple dependent variables, or you can say multiple complex relationship, which we have just now talked about. Okay, so and measurement scale of the dependent variable is metric. Then we go for multiple regression conjoint analysis. This we have already discussed in the chart before, right? So I'm just making it a fast forward one so that it comes to a chart as well. Just a moment. Yeah, if I skip that. So I would say if you see this particular thing, the first thing which is there regarding the number of dependent variables, dependence techniques can be classified as those having a single dependent variable, several dependent variables, or even the relationship type of thing, right? So second dependence techniques can further be classified as those of the either metric, or you can say quantitative numerical, or the non-metric, which is the qualitative or the categorical type of the dependent variable which is there. So if the analysis involves a single dependent variable, that is metric, the appropriate technique is either the multiple regression or the conjoint analysis that it is given over here. Okay, so conjoint analysis is you can say what actually it is. It's a special case. It involves a dependent procedure that may treat the dependent variables as the either non-metric or the metric, depending on the types of the data which is collected. In contrast, if the single dependent variable is a non-metric or a categorical type of thing, then the appropriate techniques are the multiple discriminant analysis that just also you see. Okay, and you can say linear probability models also can be used. Now, when the research problems actually involves several dependent variables, 4 other techniques are there, which are again over here. And if several dependent variables are metric, we must then look at the independent variable. And if the independent variables are non-metric, then the technique of multivariate analysis of variance, or we can say MANOVA, should be selected. And if the independent variables are metric in nature, you can go for canonical correlation. And if there are several dependent variables and they all are non-metric in nature, then they can be transformed to the dummy variables with the help of coding, which is 0 and 1. And the canonical analysis can again be used, but with the help of the coding. Finally, if a set of dependent or independent variable relationship is actually postulated, then we can always use structural equation modeling. Now, here I have actually clarified various things which are already there, which were there in the previous slide also, but I have tried to clarify this thing particularly. Okay. Now, what are the relationship between the multivariate dependence model? You can just have a look of. Now, these things are also rarely available sometimes because we are asked about the notations, or sometimes we are asked about the equations in our research papers, and we are not able to understand those equations. So here I have made it very, very clear with help of the the things which we have just not discussed, that what is metric and what is non. Okay, so here it is. You can take a photo of this also. Okay, there what type of equations will be used there is explained to you. So again, if we talk about the interdependence techniques, so interdependent techniques, the variables cannot be classified as either dependent or independent. That's why it is called interdependence. So we cannot classify with, and we have nothing to do with that classification also. That whether one variable is dependent on another or not, we are not interested in. Instead, the variables are analyzed simultaneously, or it can be an effort to find out the underlying structure of the entire set without classifying whether a variable is dependent or independent. Right? So that's why these techniques are called interdependence techniques. And if the structure of the variable is to be analyzed, then the factor analysis, or you can say the confirmatory factor analysis, is the appropriate technique, or you can say the first exploratory, and then you can go with the confirmatory. So if the structure of variable is to be analyzed, structure of variables are given, then we use exploratory factor analysis. And if the structure of relationship among the cases or the respondents which are grouped, I told you that we use cluster analysis because these forms cluster as such. And generally, what happens? Plus factor analysis and cluster analysis are considered to be the metric interdependence technique, right? But what happens is that if however non-metric data may be transformed into dummy variables, I told you, using the coding of 1 and 2, which can be a special form of the factor analysis and the cluster analysis and so on, right? So finally, if the objects or the interests are the thing, so interest in the structure of the objects, the techniques or perceptual mapping should be applied in order to, go with this. Okay. And it can be used for both metric and non-metric approaches to perceptual mapping. And if the interdependencies of the objects is measured by the non-metric data, which are to be analyzed, then the correspondence analysis is also appropriate, or you can say it is multi-dimensional scaling when the data is a metric. But if the data is non-metric, you can use correspondence analysis. But even if you have a non-metric data, multi-dimensional scaling can always be there. But if you have metric data, you must not, and neither you will not be able to use the correspondence analysis. You have to use multi-dimensional scaling. Now, this is something which I have given you about the various types of the multivariate techniques, and normally people actually fail to understand these techniques as such, that what these things are all about. And it is again, I would say, to something which is wide range of situations are there where the multivariate techniques are used. You can say these are the principal component analysis, multiple regressions, multiple correlation, multiple analysis, logistic regressions are used. Canonical correlation analysis is used. Multivariate analysis of variance of covariance, conjoint analysis, cluster, we have just not talked about, perceptual mapping, or you can say MSD, the multi-dimensional scaling, and the correspondence analysis along with the structural equation bounded and the confirmation. So here is you can say a brief about the various things, and you can see this is something. Suppose I have tried to explain each and every technique and the situations in which we are in. तो आपको कुछ पूछना, कुछ आप लोग बना देखा ना? हाँ हाँ दे दीजिए. So first is your factor analysis. Assume you ask your customer to rate your restaurant. Suppose I am having a restaurant and I would like my customers to rate my services. Okay. So what can be the variables? If somebody is coming to my restaurant and having some food, I would ask them how is the food, how is the taste of the food, whether it is appropriate temperature, having appropriate temperature or not, means ठंडी चीज ठंडी सर्व हो रही है और गर्म चीज गर्म सर्व हो रही है कि नहीं हो रही. आपको फ्रेशनेस कैसे है? अच्छा, वेटिंग टाइम कैसा रहा आपका? मतलब आपने ऑर्डर किया तो कितने टाइम में आपको मिल गया? मतलब वाज इट एप्रोप्रिएट और हैव यू केप्ट ऑन वेटिंग फॉर 1 आवर एंड नथिंग हैज बीन सर्व्ड? ये बताइए, साफ सफाई कैसे, क्लीनलीनेस कैसे, और हमारे एम्प्लॉय आपसे ठीक से बात करते हैं, फ्रेंडलीनेस कैसे? तो मैंने 4-6 फैक्टर्स ले लिए एंड आई हैव आस्क्ड माय एनालिस्ट, और मैंने उसको पूछा, मैंने कहा भैया मुझे ये बताओ कि मुझे इंप्रूव काम करना है, मैं कैसे अपने आप को इंप्रूव करूं, मेरा रेस्टोरेंट चल रहा है, तो मुझे कुछ सजेस्ट करो. तो अब क्या होगा? व्हाट दे विल डू? देयर आर 6 थिंग्स व्हिच दे हैव आइडेंटिफाइड, एंड बाय एनालाइजिंग द कस्टमर रेस्पॉन्स, the analyst might be able to find that if they combine food taste, food temperature, and food freshness, if we combine all these things, I can say it is a quality of food which we are talking. Okay. And if I combine the waiting time, cleanliness, and friendliness, what will happen? What I am talking about? I am talking about the service quality. So there are 2 things which can be there in a restaurant. One is your food quality, another is your service quality. If my food quality is good, my service quality is not good, again there will be a problem. If I have a good service quality but food quality is not good, again there will be a problem. So I can have the analysis of these 2 things. Analysis of these 2 things, that where my restaurant actually stands. So my objective is to condense the information contained in the number of original factors into a small set of variates. These are called variates. Okay. With a minimal loss of information. This is my. Okay. And I want to create a summated scale where I could keep on taking my responses from the response. So factor analysis can be a better thing in order to understand the relationship between the customer's rating of a fast food restaurant, which are now I have to explain. So from here, there can be another complete full workshop on factor analysis where I can discuss factor analysis for 3 hours continuously. That how to apply, when to apply, where to apply, and what will be the interpretation of each and every table that can be done also afterwards. Okay, so I hope I am able to make you clear then in that where you will be able to use this factor. In the same way, if you have a problem like you have a single metric dependent variable presumed to be related to 2 or more metric independent variables. Multiple regressions can be one of the things. For example, The monthly expenditure on a dining out can be a dependent variable which might be predicted from the information regarding the family income, its size, and the age of the head of the house. Okay. Now, see, these three things are dependent on the age of the household, which is the independent. Right? Similarly, the researcher might attempt to predict a company's sales from the information of its expenditure on advertising, number of salespeople, number of stores carrying its product. So these three things will make sure that my sales goes up. So these three things are independent variables, whereas my sales is a dependent one. If I have such type of relationship, then I can use multiple regression where both dependent and the independent variables are metric to can be converted, or this is the metric data. It means metric data means it can either be ratio or it can either be an interval. Okay. So I'm not going into nitty-gritties of interval and the ratio, and the ordinal and nominal are non-metric, whereas interval and scale are the metric. Okay. Next is your multiple discriminant analysis. The word discriminant actually tells you that it distinguishes the people. Okay. It might be used to distinguish innovators from the non-innovator. Right? From the demographic and the psychographic profile. And in another application, you can into distinguishing very high product users from a light users. You can distinguish between males and females. You can distinguish between a national brand bias or a private label bias. Credit risk takers or poor risk takers. Good risk takers or poor credit risk takers. Okay. So actually what it is doing, it is actually distinguishing with the help of the data collected. You can actually make a distinction between that these things belongs to this, and you can have that type of hypothesis. Here what is happening, dependent is the metric, whereas the independent ones are the non-metric, and with the help of non-metric data I'm trying to predict the metric data. There we try to discriminate the things. Okay. Logistic regression, another very important type of thing, which is also called, it's also logit analysis. People actually calls it logistic. It's not logistic, it is logistic. Because log, log 10 and this all. So this is something, it's a combination of multiple regression and a multiple discriminant analysis. What actually does is like. Okay. So again, it is having some dichotomous type of thing when we are talking about this. Okay. So for example, financial advisors are trying to develop a method of selecting emerging firms for the startup. To assess this task, they review the past records and place certain candidate firms into two classes. One is over 5 year and successful over 5 year period, and unsuccessful over 5 years. So for each firm, they also had a wealth and the financial managerial data, which is the basis of distinguishing. So by using the logistic regression model, those financial and the managerial data and the best differentiated between the successful and the unsuccessful firm can be identified in order to select the best candidate for the investment. My purpose is to select the best candidate from the investment, and my hypothesis is that the variables which are there are distinguishing, or there is a significant difference between the successful over 5 years period and unsuccessful. That's why I placed it in that. So from among this various you can say emerging forms for the startup investments, I have actually distinguished these forms into two you can say separate type of things. One is over 5 years, successful over 5 years, and unsuccessful after 5 years type of thing. So in that way, we will be able to use the log stabilization. So another thing is the canonical correlation analysis, which we have just now understood that this is also a type of English having a logical expression of multiple regression analysis. It's also known as a multiple regression analysis. It involves a single metric dependent variable and several metric independent variables. With the canonical analysis, several metric dependent variables and several metric independent variables can be correlated simultaneously when we can do a simultaneous correlation when we use this type of thing. Okay. That's why it is called canonical code. Okay. So what is the main objective? The underlying principle is to develop a linear combination of such set of variables which are both either dependent or independent in a manner that actually maximizes the correlation between these variables. Okay. Or you can say the procedure involves obtaining set of weights for the dependent and the independent variables that actually provides a maximum simple correlation between the set of the dependent variables and the set of independent. Okay. So here the metric and non-metric type of data will come in. This is the independent ones are completely metric and non-metric means it is a combination of them. Okay. Suppose you have a company that conducts a study that collects information on its service quality based on 50 metrically measured questions. Now, the responses are to be metrically measured. It means there is some scale on which this measurement has been made. The study uses the questions from a published service quality research and includes a benchmarking information on perception of the service quality of the world-class company, as well as the companies for which the research is being conducted. So now canonical correlation could be used to compare the perception of the world-class companies on the 50 questions in the perception of the company. The research could then be conclude whether the perception of the company are correlated with those of the world-class companies. This technique would provide the information of overall correlation of the perception as well as correlation between each of the 50 informations, right? In the same way, this MANOVA, or you can say multivariate analysis of variance, is also there, which actually is a statistical technique that can be used to simultaneously explore the relationship between the several categorical independent variables, which are actually called treatments, and two or more metric dependent variables. As such, it actually represents it is nothing but the extension of the normal ANOVA which we actually do. MENCOVA, which is actually the extension of multivariate analysis of variance. Actually, we are studying now here the covariance. It is a junction with the MANOVA to remove after the experiment, and then effect of the uncontrolled metrics depend. Normally, this we do not use particularly in our management research or the social science research also. But yes, here, if you see the mathematical relationship, the dependent variable is metric, whereas the independent is the non-metric one. And in analysis of variance, what happens? It is only one metric variable is here, whereas non-metric variables are no. So that's why there is a need of understanding the covariance also, because there are multiple metric variables. That's why this technique is called MENCOVA, because we are actually understanding is there any you can say covariance between the metric variable. That is Okay, so there are certain examples of it. Conjoint analysis is also a very good technique. So it brings the new sophistication of evaluation of objects such as new products, services, or ideas. So more direct application is on the new product, or you can say service development, allowing for the evaluation of the complex products while you are maintaining the realistic decision context of the respondent. The market researcher is able to assess the importance of the attributes as well as the level of such attributes. While consumer evaluate only new product profiles, which are combination of both combinations of the product labels. Okay. In the same way, conjoint analysis, particularly if we have the example is given regarding that 3x3 matrix, how can you be able to establish a correlation or common joints between the variables as such? Okay. So perceptual mapping or multidimensional scaling is also being used in the various types of analysis work. Okay. So I have told you most of the things over here regarding various types of. Now another important thing, which is the structural equation modeling, when to use this particular things, is also one of the important aspect of this particular thing which I just want to discuss. It actually provides a appropriate or most efficient estimation techniques. Actually, what the thing is here, there is a complex relationship between the variables, as we have just now discussed. And we want to arrive some structural model out of this complex relationship. And that model should be a measurement model. And there has to be, when we talk about measurement model, the structural model must be having some part which actually shows the dependent and independent variables, and how we actually, you can say, to what extent certain things are dependent on another, and how the complex relationship is being created. It also gives rise to the you can say the things which comes out as mediating and moderating variables too. So in certain situations, the theory, or you can say the prior experience or the guidelines, which actually give a existing theory, and then we try to predict the things on the basis of that theory, then we use the structural equation. Okay. So this model actually discusses which actually accommodates multiple dependent variables. And multivariate analysis of variance and canonical correlations are not applicable in this situation because they allow only a single relationship, if you have noted. But here we are having a complex relationship, and these are means there is a dependent and interdependent, both type of relationships are there. And if we see mathematically, there are multiple dependent variables which may be having a complex relationship between and among this other variables. So that's why we try to understand and we try to use those structural equations. The same thing happens for what the confirmatory factorial, because we already have some established theory and we try to confirm that established theory. There we use the confirmatory factorial with the structural equation modeling. For example, a dependent variable might be concept represented by a summated scale. Suppose for as such the self scale. So in the confirmatory factorial analysis, the researcher can assess the contribution of each scale item as well as it incorporates how well the scale measures the concept, or you can say the reliability of the things which is there, which we want to actually establish. That is the most important thing, particularly which are that we are trying to understand. So the scales, these scales are then integrated into a estimation of relationship between the dependent and the independent variables, and this relationship is nothing but we call it as a structure model. And this procedure is just similar to performing the factor analysis, and it's a combination of various techniques. It's a combination of factor analysis, multiple regression, and we try to understand the relationship. Okay. So a study, you can say by a management consultant, to identify the several factors that affect the worker satisfaction, for example, supervisors of the work environment. That will do. Okay. So now see, what are the things which we want to understand? Work satisfaction, which is dependent on supervisor support, work environment, and job performance. Now, in addition to this relationship, they noted that a separate relationship wherein the supervisor support and the work environment are unique predictors of the job performance. Right? Hence, they had two separate but interrelated relationships. Supervisor support and the work environment not only affected the worker satisfaction directly, but had a possible indirect effects to the relationship with the job performance, which was also a predictor of the work satisfaction. Huh? So, in attempting to assess this relationship, the consultant or a researcher must develop a multi-item scale for each construct. Now, what are the constructs over here? Supervisor support is one construct. Work environment is another. Job performance and the worker satisfaction. These all are the constructs. So, in order to measure these constructs, I have to develop separate scales in order to, I mean, there will be, these all are the construct and they will be having some latent variables out. And out of those latent variables, the scale will be calculated. Therefore, SCM actually, or you can say the structural equation modeling actually provides a means of not only assessing each of the relationships simultaneously, rather than in a separate analysis, but also incorporate the multi-item scales in the analysis in order to account for a measurement error which is associated with these scales. Now, imagine the complexity. So, every latent variable will also be having some errors, which again needs to be nullified. And each construct is having various latent variables, and every latent variable will be associated with certain errors. So it will again create a big complex relationship, which will be assessed in order to understand. So this is, I think, the last slide itself, which I have discussed more about the qualitative and the quantitative aspects of the research, particularly. Okay, so more of the things were theoretical, but I think I have finished it well on time. So this is what is from my side for today's, because even I was thinking that what should I deliver? So I thought I should deliver something which I have not delivered before. And there should be some takeaway out of it. I do not know to what extent I was able to, justify the time or the things today. And even I was expecting some questions. The time is over, but still I am here with you. So anything you would like to ask me, so you can always do that. Ravi ji.
Sir, first of all,
Ah.
sir,
Abhi ho gaya answer.
no, sir. First of all, very, I'm so thankful, sir. Again, it was a very wonderful session from your side, sir. As expected, I think you have not left anything. I think so. So, participants, you are welcome to ask any questions to Professor Pava, sir. You have the opportunity to ask question. Yes, Dr. Venkata, please unmute. You can ask.
Yes, sir was asking something before.
Your voice is not audible, Venkata. Dr. Venkata, your voice is not audible.
Okay, sir. Now is audible.
It is say loudly. I think
Yes.
voice is coming very slow.
Sir. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Now it is coming. Yes.
Sir, regarding structural equation modeling, sir.
Yeah.
If we use if you want to use structural equation modeling
Mhm.
with 4 independent variables, 2 moderating and 2 mediating and
Ah.
1 dependent variable, what should be the connection? Like,
Yeah. Carry on, please.
so what should be the relationship? So means how we need to,
What you are saying?
sir, when we want to study on structural equation modeling,
Okay.
when we take 4 independent variables,
Okay. 4 independent variables, fine.
2 mediating variables,
Mediating variables.
2 moderating variables,
Okay.
and 1 dependent variable. What should be the connection we need to give, sir?
Now,
So
again, another thing, yeah, because you have just asked certain question, which is self, I would say, because I need to, like, I need to understand what type of variables these are. Okay, if you would be able to give me some idea, suppose, for example, I have given you some idea in my last exam that job satisfaction is there, the supervisor's role is there, work environment is there. What type of variables you are talking about? If you will be able to give me in a clear way, I would be able to establish some relationship or some structure which is subject to be you can say tested, right? So then only I will be able to explain you in a better way. So if you can send me, okay, I have to give my number also to all of you. I will do it. I'm just writing it on in the chat box. This is for everyone. So this is right. I have given you my number also and
sir.
search email. This is my email ID.
Sir, variables like independent variable AI transparency and NFT utility, sustainability proof, like this one topic is
Can you do one
selected.
thing? Just the WhatsApp is also there on the same number. So what you can do, please give it to me on WhatsApp. I will create a this internet dependency chart for you and will send it to you. You can collect even I can help you out in identifying certain latent variables out of these, which you can directly send prepare the questionnaire for putting it to the response.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, the thing which you were asking at that time, Dr. Venkata, that while we are writing some good things from our side, why it is not getting accepted in the good papers? Because we have a disconnect between our objectives and our the test which we apply. Okay. The most important thing is, because I told you, while I was taking this, that we actually, there is a fashion of applying the multivariate technique, especially this SCL, structural equation model. Everyone is applying. But do we have those objectives which actually allow us to apply this technique? That's again a big thing. So when we go heavy, or when we are not at all on our objectives, or when we try to reinvent the wheel which is already there, our paper do not get accepted. Can we have some theory? Can we do some good research? Can we have something which is innovation, you can say, which actually comes to something new, that our findings are helpful for the society or for the public at large? Now, let me tell you one more complex thing over here. Science people, or you can say the people from computer science, they publish very easily because they have labs to test their hypothesis. Our lab is the entire world. Our lab is the thing which is, you can say, our laboratory is not confined to certain constraints. They are having, they fix the temperature, they fix the humidity with the help of that simulated lab, and they try to do the experiment, and they get success in that. Can we do that? Can we fix up our environment? Can we fix up our emotional setup? Can we fix up certain things which is called satisfaction? It cannot be. That's why we try to do certain things, but we fail many a time. But if still we are able to make some good contribution for the existing world, definitely we will be able to publish in a book. That is another important thing. We do not follow the instruction which are given by the which are given by the journals. We do not follow that. रवि जी, आपके पास कितने सारे पेपर आते हैं जो बिल्कुल ही मतलब आउट ऑफ द वे होते हैं, तो आप उनको भी जैसे रिजेक्शन
बहुत सारे आते हैं हमारे को,
सारे कोई तो आप सबको थोड़ी क्या एक्सेप्ट करके सबको थोड़ी पब्लिश कर दो।
नहीं सर, अराउंड 35% से 40% तक रिजेक्ट होते हैं पेपर।
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, आपको आपका रिजेक्शन रेट फिर भी जो है थोड़ा ठीक है, बाकी नॉर्मली 80% पेपर 90% पेपर्स गेट रिजेक्टेड।
40% तक ही करते हैं मैम, बाकी सर हम रिवीजन के लिए भेज देते हैं।
आई अंडरस्टैंड मल्टीपल जर्नल सबका अपना अपना है, कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ एडजस्ट हो जाता है, आप करते ही। बट दिस इज व्हाट द थिंग इज डॉक्टर वेंकटा जी, that we actually do not follow the instruction, and then sometimes one more thing is there, replicability of the research. Whatever we are doing, is it replicable to the other situations? Or otherwise, whatever is being done in Rajasthan, I am trying to do in Madhya Pradesh. It's already done. I am not able to understand why I am doing it again. Then there comes the problem where we are not able, we find no other place to justify ourselves. And that's why there is a problem in, you can say, publishing at a good place. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other question, please?
Any other questions? Participants, you can click raise on hand button.
For how many people this particular chart which I showed was a new one, which actually tells you that what techniques to apply where? Because this is something which is very to quantitative and qualitative. I told. Qualitative I did, quantitative also very rigorously I did those qualitative.
You have showed everything, sir. I think you have showed everything. They all are satisfied. The chat box also, they are satisfied with the.
My WhatsApp number is the same number. I have only one wife and one number. So you can anytime.
Aarti Gupta ji, please.
Yeah.
Aarti ji.
Ma'am,
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
My name is Aarti Gupta, and first of all, I would like to convey a vote of thanks on behalf of all the participants. Thank you so much for this fruitful and very insightful session. And I am pursuing my PhD from University of Delhi. In fact, the time was overlapping amidst my class as well, and I just was less participative. Yeah.
You are in evening college somewhere.
Yes, you have seen me. I have heard your name somewhere. I am at Aditya College Evening. I am administrative officer right now. But I think I have heard your name and my.
Ma'am, earlier you have joined our program, I think.
Yes, I think so. Sir, I would like to say those persons who are not too much statistical, I am good in doing literature review more, and my interest areas lies in disability inclusion, mainstreaming, accessibility, and inclusion. So, like, I have one query. Like, if I have selected the topic of inclusion, disability inclusion for the well-being of Divyangjans at organizational workplace. So for that, if I conduct, mixed methodology, if I will be using, and responses I can collect from maybe like international NGOs which are working in Delhi, for example, NCPDP, Red Cross, etc., or even our University of Delhi. So, what will be the best, statistical way to apply is it ANOVA using SPSS, or what more?
Yeah,
I am not too much statistical. Yeah.
Actually, what the thing is, it again completely depends on your objectives.
Yes,
So without seeing your
I
synopsis, I
understand.
cannot suggest you.
Right.
That is the reason why I have given my number. Also. If you really want
Okay.
to understand, so
ठीक
you
है
have to
sir,
give some
I will
time.
share.
I will also, I promise you, I will give you some time.
ठीक है sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, anybody else? Pava sir, first of all, thank you. Again, you gave us the extra time. आप हमेशा सर अपना कीमती समय हमें देते हैं.
नहीं,
बहुत बहुत
अगर
धन्यवाद
वो
सर.
यही नहीं, प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं है. It's not
And
like
I request all the participants, please join each and every session, because on the 7th day there is an assessment test, MCQs test. So you have to get 75% in it to qualify for the certificate. It will be based on all these 6 sessions. So I request everyone to please join. Don't depend on the recorded videos. And I request Professor Pava sir to please sir share the PDF of the PPT so that I can share with the
not simple.
participants.
Sure.
So thank you so much on behalf of Inspira, KCCS College and Sri Tagore College, Kuchaman City. Once again, sir, I would like to thank you for the wonderful session. It was really a fruitful session for all of us. We have learned a lot about qualitative and quantitative analysis. And I'm sure, sir, we will do more workshops and FDPs with you.
Definitely.
Chauhan sir, you want to say
Thank
anything?
you, sir. Thank you very much. Your session is so valuable and so insightful for every person, every participant.
मुझे लग रहा था शायद थोड़ा ऊपर से जा रहा है. But मैंने सोचा कि there will be at least some people who will be able to take this up, because actually the purpose is to ignite the you can say that the thrust of doing certain things. So मतलब एक ignition चाहिए कि भी ये भी टेक्निक से कुछ इनको भी जानिए. हम लोग अनोवा तक ही रुक जाते हैं.
जी.
और कुछ लोग करते हैं सीधा जंप लगाते हैं स्ट्रक्चरल इक्वेशन मॉडलिंग पे, बीच वाला सब गायब हो जाता है. तो इन चीजों को पढ़ना और इन चीजों को देखना भी उतना ही जरूरी है. और मैं तो कहूँगा हर टेक्निक को समझने का तरीका है कि उस पर एक रिसर्च पेपर लिखना है. छापने के लिए बैठे हैं हमारे रवि, कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं.
Professor Pava sir has been sir. I want to tell them that Professor Pava has been associated with us since long time, 10 years, I think 10 to 12 years. And we have been organized so many programs with Professor Pava sir, so many research methodology like
I am
SPS.
managing editor and editor of four journals, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
So whenever you will be giving, it will be definitely come to me. And there is something which is to be improved. Definitely, it will be improved and will be
because of Pava sir and all, we are running 7 international journals and 2 national journals. Now we have total 9 journals. So, and all are indexed in Crossref, DOI also, and
so
various.
the opportunity which Inspira is providing to the researchers, it is really very, very appreciable and very good.
And sir, with your blessings, we have crossed 1,000 life members
Great.
of IRA. So, so thank you so much, sir, once again. So we will meet soon, sir, in person.
Thank
you so much, all the participants. Thank you so much. So we will meet tomorrow at the same time on the topic AI tools for research.
एक
paper
फोटो
writing.
खींच लेते हैं रवि जी सबके
Sir, I have
साथ.
taken so many screenshots. I will share with you.
If you can, there are still 52 participants.
Yes,
Take
please.
their,
They are not comfortable with their videos, sir, I think.
no, they all are comfortable, sir.
I
because,
requested so many times, but the party are not interested, I think. So I request.
भाई फोटो तो आप खिंचवा सकते हो सब हमारे साथ में. Come on.
At least ये आपके लिए भी अच्छा रहेगा participants, because you will see yourself in the the screenshot social media पे जो हम डालेंगे. विक्की लिखार जी, how are you? अनम्यूट करिए सर.
Educated है बड़े यार, देखो बताओ.
राजोरा जी बैठे हैं, इतने जानने वाले लोग हैं, लेकिन आई डोंट नो क्यों ये राजोरा जी. अब करिए वीडियो ऑन, राजोरा जी ने भी. नमस्कार राजोरा जी. विक्की जी सर, ये डॉक्टर विक्की लिखार फ्रॉम जयपुर नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी में,
अच्छा, JNU से.
जेएनयू में हैं, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हैं, एंड ही इज डूइंग वेरी वेल.
और सर लकीस्ट पार्ट है कि आज ही मेरे को गाइड अलॉट करा गया है.
अरे वाह, क्या बात है.
कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन. आप भी सुपरवाइजर बन गए हुए हैं.
यस सर.
Great. तो बस ये कितने लोग आए? 13-14 ही. बाकी लोग कहाँ सो रहे हैं?
बाकी लोग सर बाकी लोग ज्वाइंट तो हैं, बट दे आर नॉट ओपनिंग देयर वीडियो. नो प्रॉब्लम सर. सब रिलैक्स होके बैठते हैं इस टाइम पे एक्चुअली.
ठीक है. मैं टाई लगा के बैठा हूँ, देखो आप बताओ.
आप तो सर एवरग्रीन है, कभी नहीं. Thank you so much. Thank you sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Tomorrow is the session by Mr. Tanveer Singh on the topic AI tools for research paper writing. I think it is very important topic for all of us once again. So kindly please join tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you sir.
अभी मैं भी ज्वाइन करूंगा, देखना मुझे कुछ सीखना.
सर सर श्योर सर. आप ही के ब्रदर हैं सर, मिस्टर तनवीर सिंह.
Thanks a lot.